What is happening, y'all? Cowboy here, and welcome to my first of 14 separate ultimate guides for the various weapons. And today we are talking about my go-to weapon in Monster Hunter Wilds. This is the Kinsect Glaive. Now, while this guide is going to cover some of the basics, I already did a starter guide, which will be linked immediately in the description, but we're going to go over some of those basics regardless. We're going to go into a combo discussion looking at our most damaging combo. We're going to be doing a breakdown of all the various Kinsects and their upgrades, talking about ideal weapon and armor setups, and then we're going to do a hunt. Now, obviously, I'm very late game right now. I'm in low rank gear, but we are going to be covering high rank content in this video. So if you're not okay with spoilers, you should turn away. And with that being said, let's jump into it. And now that we are properly dripped up, the first thing we're going to do is just cover some of the basics for those that are just looking for a refresher course on IG. Now, as with any weapon, we're going to hop into the play guide, weapon controls, go to our weapon, and this is going to give you the very base moves of the various weapon. It's going to talk about basic combos. And what I really want to call attention to is the extract effects. Red allows us to charge B, which is critical to how IG plays now in Wilds. White gives us movement speed and jump height. Orange negates knockback while our weapon's out. Red and white gives us more attack. White and orange gives us more defense. And then when we have all three, it's going to alter some attacks, giving us access to our strongest ability. It also reduces wind pressure, tremors, and roars, and further increases our attack. Now, when it comes to extracting effects, if you're coming from World, the most common way was to send your Kinsect out and bring it on back. And that's going to get us an extract, which you can see up there marked with red. However, anytime we are in focus mode, which actually, let me put this on real fast just to make things even easier for y'all. Focus mode is what we get from hitting the left trigger. Mine is on toggle, so I don't have to hold it. But if we're in that and attacking, our Kinsect will attack alongside us, and anything we hit, we're going to yank the extract directly out of. So now I have all three of my extracts. Now, jumping into some of the basic combos of IG, back in the day, a very popular one was just YYB. We would loop this. We would go Y, Y, B, Y, Y, B. I know I'm pressing it more than I need to. It's just bad habits. And that's still a decent combo, but we can go triple Y into B, and it's going to be much more effective. Now, for this, I'd suggest you have a controller that has a back button. Like right now, I'm holding B, and it's just the button on the back of my controller. It's much easier with mouse and keyboard. It's much easier with a backboard. Otherwise, it's a little bit awkward to do. But we're going to go Y, 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 B, and straight back into our Y combo. We can loop this indefinitely, and it is going to pump some serious damage. Now, if we are in focus mode, after strong descending, we can also press B for rising spiral slash, and then we would vault, hit a weak spot, shoot out our Kinsect, and get all of our extracts back. Now, whether you want to go for rising spiral slash or not, keep in mind, rising spiral slash is our strongest ability by far. Just to put things into perspective, I want you to just take a look at the damage we're doing with our combo right now. So 1200 and then 1906. So out of a 1906 damage combo, 700 of that damage came from a single move, our rising spiral slash. That's beefy. That's more than a third of our damage coming in from one ability. So it's very good. Keep in mind that's going to expend your extracts though. Now you'll notice I managed to get red and white back from it. What extracts you get back, it's really just going to depend on where you hit. Very, very rarely will it go off and you'll get all three. And see, this time I got everything but orange, so it kind of works out. But you want to be doing that very frequent. Ideally, if there's a mount on the monster, or excuse me, a wound on the monster. If there's a wound, throw it on out and then immediately leap and strike, get that wound, recollect all your essences. On top of that, we can also do this jumping. So we're going to jump, hold B, vault, slam down, and then straight into it. And still, very respectable damage going into it fast like that. But that is going to be our main go-to now, is going through that 3-hit into the B combo and then looping that, or doing the B follow-up with the rising slash, which once again, you need to be in focus mode for that to work. Now, another thing to call out is with our Y combo, we have directional capabilities now. So we can go into the sidestep slash combo. If you go forward, it's just going to be a thrust, so it's going to keep you right on position. And if you go back, it is going to scoot you back a little bit. Outside of that, if you just hit B, we still have the basic leaping slash, but you're not going to really be doing that much. You know, going through our combo and then just doing a regular B, like, yeah, tornado, but like to be honest, there's not any reason to really do that when we could instead go for the strong descending slash. Another thing to talk about, marking. Marking is, you know, previously this is something we would always do. While you're marking now, you'll notice that my Kinsect is suddenly not attacking in my combos. Now, if I were to do the strong descending slash, he's going to come back for that because he's like, hey, you're going to go into rising spiral, right? I'm ready to combo with you, partner. But otherwise, he will not. So definitely keep in mind that whether you're using the right trigger to mark or you're, you know, hitting the right trigger and then doing Kinsect fire to mark a specific spot, if the target is marked, your Kinsect isn't going to be assisting you. And the reason I want to call specific attention to this is we do now have specific things with our Kinsect. In particular, we have Kinsect combo boost elemental. And if our Kinsect isn't doing our combo with us, we're not getting that boost. So keep in mind that you want to be very conscious of when you are dusting versus when you are trying to weave your Kinsect in on your combo. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about is aerial. I think aerial IG really gets a bad rap. I think it's the most fun part of the weapon, and a lot of people are like, stay on the ground. That's where you deal your best damage. And I'm not going to contest that, but aerial IG is definitely competitive, I think. I don't know if competitive is the right word, but viable. It's certainly viable. And just to show that, we're just going to do a pure aerial rotation. I'll probably end up hitting damage up in the thousands, but it's good enough. Like, well, messed it up there. I done whiffed. I whiffed. Yeah, needed to reset. Put my weapon away. This time we're gonna do it. Full aerial rotation. If I can actually jump onto the target. It's a problem with the training dummy, to be honest. The training dummy is just too damn small for me to really... So there, 1026, and that was without the RSS, which that was 1026, and our other combo was 1143. Now keep in mind, obviously it takes a lot longer. I'm not saying aerial IG is superior, but I happen to run a master mounter set because I love mounting monsters. I actually got 6 consecutive mounts on a tempered Arcveld just earlier today with a highly aerial focused playstyle. So if you want to have an aerial IG focus, just know that it is a viable playstyle. You can certainly get damage in, but at the end of the day, we are going to pump hard when we're on the ground, and we actually have things to supplement that like max might. While we're on the ground, we can just pump harder and we can do RSS very quickly, but you can also chain that from going into the air. The last thing I want to talk about is getting, well, actually, there's 2 things I want to talk about. The first, let's talk about our offset. Our offset is one of the new things that we got with the full game. It's close to a like predictive offset. You got to go pretty early on this. So just to line it up and show, like with the dummy, I need to let this rip as soon as it gets to the top. Like right there, that was too late. That was already too late. So it's, if I had to pick a weapon, it's kind of close to Switch Axe, I think, in terms of the timing. But once you get used to hitting it, it is very satisfying. Yeah, you can see just how tight that window is. So like the second it's like the monster's coming, I gotta let that rip. Now it doesn't matter if you're going for the level 1 or level 2 charge. You can notice that when we're holding B, 2 levels, 1, 2. It doesn't matter which of those you light out. Either of those is capable of getting the offset. You just got to be early enough when you do it so that you're actually going to counter the hit that's coming in. Which I'm trying to get the fast charge and get it out. Definitely very tight on the offset side of things. But regardless, still very satisfying. So that covered, I do want to talk about wound recovery. And what I'm talking about here in particular. So anytime we get a wound, we are going to launch backwards. Even if you whiff, to be honest, which is you know, you gotta get used to that. If we whiff when we jump back, even if we didn't get that wound, we're still all the way back here. And, you know, my first instinct is to dive in and start going for it. But if we don't have all of our extracts, instead, you're just going to do like your crappy attack. So instead, what I would suggest doing is we're just going to go through, we execute our combo. I'm going to vault, target, hit, fire, and then vault. Now, And so what we're waiting for is we're waiting for that Kinsect to get back to us. We can jump, we can vault, we can start holding B, but until our Kinsect gets back to us, we don't want to actually hit we don't want to hit Y, and we don't, because otherwise we're just doing this. We're just doing a single attack. So keep that in mind. You don't want to do your jumping advancing slash until it's going to turn into the advanced aerial version, and that comes along after hitting the wound. Your Kinsect gets back to you, hit that button, and then you're going to be able to just get more damage. Moving on from there, next up I want to do a breakdown of our Kinsects and the various effects they have and how to make them all. Now, our Kinsects can be split into 3 real categories. We have attack-oriented Kinsects, we have speed-oriented Kinsects, and we have stamina-oriented Kinsects. When you first buy, get 6 Mal drones and 6 cold drones. Just buy them in that order, 6 and 6. It'll just make things really easy in terms of how they are broken out. So, all of our Maul drones are going to turn into blunt Kinsects. All of our cold drones are going to turn into severing Kinsects, and these are going to come in pairs. So first up with the Maul drone, the Foe Beetle, this is going to turn into our attack-oriented blunt Kinsects. In this case, the Carnage Beetle and the Bonnet Fillet, I believe it's its name. The Golshad is going to turn into Bull and Whisper Vest. Lady Targe is going to turn into Pavis and Archmaiden. And we're going to be looking at all these, by the way. The Cold Drone will turn into Alaconid, which will then turn either into Monarch Alaconid or the Empress. The Riggy Brain will turn into either Fiddlebricks or Kincataman. And lastly, the Wind Chopper will turn into everyone's favorite from World, Pseudocath or Granith. Now, taking a look at each of these. First up, let's just talk about the matchups. So over here we have the Carnage Beetle. The Carnage Beetle is the, where's the blunt one? So it's the Carnage Beetle and the Monarch Alaconid. Or better yet, you know what, let me just go through the blunts and then I'll break things down. So Carnage Beetle is going to be our pure attack. Element on Kinsects is entirely dependent on your IG. If you're using a poison insect glaive, they have poison element. If you're using blast, they have blast element. Fire, etc. You get the idea. But this is a poison powder. It is power focused, and its combo boost will help to boost your element. So that is when we're in focus mode and our Kinsect is attacking with us. So if you're doing a lot of assisted attacks, this is a fantastic choice. It's also a very good choice if you're playing elemental IG because of that combo boost element. The Kinsect boost stamina recovery isn't going to be as useful because we're not really looking to dust with this guy as much. Second attack choice is going to be the Bonnet Fillet. This still has max power compared to this one. You can see we have a little bit more stamina. It's going to have attack boost powder and fast charge. Now fast charge is really nice. When we hold down the button to send our Kinsect out and it will grab multiple essences, it's going to allow that to just charge up quicker. So it takes roughly half a second off the charge time. And then attack boost powder is going to increase the effectiveness of the powder from what I tested about 50%. So with something like recovery powder, you could even make a like support type IG where you have recovery powder going all over the place, and as people are hitting that, they're getting some pretty nice heals. All in all, pretty nice, but not my favorite. Moving on to the speed category, we have the Whisper Vest, which has the attack boost powder. That's going to further implement the potency of your blast. And then once again, we have fast charge coming back, how fast we throw it on out. With the Bull Shroud, our other speed choice and blunt, we have the Kinsect combo element and extract boost recovery. Now you might think extract boost recovery doesn't sound all that useful because you're not trying to hit the green spots. However, keep in mind that our Kinsect was just going to passively be gathering that as we're attacking the monster in focus. So especially if you're getting around the back of the monster and you're hitting the tail, you're going to be ripping in like 3 to 4 greens per combo, and that healing is going to add up considerably. It's very similar to the attack boost powder. That's like a 50% boost, but explicitly to the green extract that you're yanking out. Moving down to the Lady Pavis. This one is fairly balanced, but we have paralysis powder on it. We do have the Kinsect combo boost element, and once again, stamina recovery. If you're looking to get paralysis powder out, it's not a bad choice, but it is not one of my favorites. And then we have the Archmaiden, the chonky gal with tons of stamina. She does have Kinsect Boost Harvest Extract, which is very nice. The move that we get from holding Y with Fast Charge, instead of that gathering 2 extracts, it will gather 3, making it a very, very good Kinsect if you are looking for a blunt type. It also comes with Blast Powder, which is pretty nice. Moving on from there, these are identical. So the Empress Wing, the Monarch Alaconid, the Fiddlebricks, the Kincataman, the Pseudocath, and the Granthanar. These are all 1-for-1s with their counterparts up here. So once again, in terms of, well, actually, just to break things down, in terms of what I'd recommend, Fiddlebricks is one of my personal favorites. Fiddlebricks along with Archmaiden. What's so nice about these is Fast Charge and Harvest Extract is just a very sexy combo. You can charge your Kinsect, send it out, and usually get all 3 essences. So if the monster's fiddling around and you can't get good focus attacks, they don't care. They're just like, yoink, I got him. If you're not concerned with that, I do like the Carnage Beetle, or alternatively the Monarch Alucinid. Both of these are going to be very nice with Elemental IG. I'm currently in the process of making my Elemental IG sets, and I plan on using them then. With status, I don't really think the combo boost element is that beneficial just because blast thresholds start getting out of control, but with element, I would certainly consider it. Besides that, if you want to go for just pure speed, you obviously could still go for the Pseudocath or the Granthanar, but to be honest, I don't think it's really needed anymore. I think a big reason people were so drawn into speed Kinsects is because that's how we got our extracts, and we're not really shooting it out that much anymore. I mean, the charge is certainly good to get multiple, but a lot of the times we're going to be getting our extracts directly from focus attacks or from just charge chucking it through the target and getting multiple at the same time. So my general ranking, Fiddlebricks for Severing and Archmaiden for Blunt would be tier 1, and then from there the Carnage Beetle and the Monarch Alucinid for tier 2. And then some special call outs over to the extract boost recovery. There's a lot of healing that you can get from those, which that is pretty cool if you're focusing, you know, not the face of monsters. And then obviously the attack boost powder recover. I also want to give a honorable mention to that because we tested it and I had an ally just run through and hit like 4 powders and get a big old, like half of his health came back. So that is pretty nice. Once again, just in terms of what they're going to go into. Actually, no, you know what? You can rewind the video. We already talked about it. So moving on from our Kinsects, let's talk about IGs. Let's talk about forging our insect glaives. Now to start with low rank, you're not going to believe it, but one of the best low rank IGs is actually going to be this guy right here, baby. The Nata Glaive 2. This thing carried me through most of low rank. It comes in at 150 attack with blue sharpness, and to be honest, there's not much that can really compete with it unless you're making a bunch of different IGs for their various elements. Once we get to the end of IG, I mean, where's it at? A Jarakan's decent, but 20 less raw? No, thank you. And honestly, there's not much else in low rank that's going to be able to deal that kind of damage until you get up to Guardian Archveld, which will ramp you up into the 170 category. Now moving on to late game IGs, the clear winner in this list, in my opinion, is the Queen Regalia, the Guardian Rathian IG. This comes in at 210 raw, which actually real fast, just to talk about the numbers. I know somebody's going to be like, my numbers are way bigger. Your game's broken. No, you're looking at the bloat. So what I want y'all to do is I want you to go to game settings. Yeah, I was already on it. Page 3 of 4 under game settings. Turn this on to display without coefficient. To briefly explain this, in World, we had bloated numbers because if people look at a dual blade and they see it's 200 damage and they look at a greatsword and see it's 200 damage, they're going to go, well, why the hell would I use the greatsword? The dual blade deals that much damage, but it deals it way faster. And so weapons received a coefficient which bloated their value to make the numbers seem bigger because big number makes brain happy. But that just adds an extra variable into doing the math and weapon comparisons. And at the end of the day, the only thing I care about is the true raw of the weapon. I want the raw numbers that are being crunched behind the scenes. And so with that on, we are seeing obviously very, very different numbers. But so going back over to the IGs, looking at the Rathian, coming in at 210 true raw, 15 affinity, 180 poison, healthy amount of white sharpness, critical status, poison duration up, insect level 8, 321, very, very respectable insect glaive. Now, I would like to give honorable mention to the Jarakan. It does come in behind while we end up picking up a Compromental Blast, and it is kind of similar. We pick up Power Prolonger, which is dog water for insect glaives, and then we have 5 less affinity, but it's a Trident, which gives it the cool factor. Now that aside, there aren't many IGs that I would actually utilize for pure raw damage over what I have. My particular IG is Ardian. We'll talk about those in a second, but I'm coming in at 215, 10, 160 blast, white sharpness, and I have 3 level 3 decoration slots, and that makes this very, very nice. And the reason it's so nice is if I was to compare this to some of the IGs that really get up there, You know, this one, Immaculate Blizzard, actually pretty solid, coming in at 230 raw, the -10 with the white sharpness. Kinsect level 10, that's really good, but it has focus. The only thing focus is going to help is my charge B attack, and I'm charging that while it's in the background. I'm not trying to charge that on the fly. Another option, if we go up to Arkveld, you know, we could get 220 and level 9 Kinsect on that, or alternatively 240 with the -10, level 8 on that. The damage is good, I'm not going to contest that, but Power Prolonger is completely useless for Insect Glaives because we're not trying to prolong our extract buffs anymore. We're trying to spend them on RSS and then grab fresh extracts off the monster. So because of that, the raw on these is going to be competitive, to be clear. There's some cases where it's going to even pull ahead, but at the end of the day, I'd rather have more skills available, and having those level 3 decoration slots is something that's just pretty hard to pass up, to be honest. Just to add a little bit extra into the discussion, I actually just put all of them into the EFR calculator here. This is taking a look at the Guardian Arkveld, the regular Arkveld, the Blaganga, and the Ardian IG, and this is assuming I'm not using Crit Boost 3, which I am. And with that, Blaganga would be 2 EFR ahead at 296. And that's before I slot in the Crit Boost 3, which I have 3 level 3 deco slots for, whereas the Blaganga tree, you're probably going to want to have some sharpness management on that bad boy. Now, with all that being said, there are a couple elemental IGs that I think can be competitive to Ardian. In particular, the Toucan Pike coming in at 350 fire, and going up to the Jin Dahad coming in at 350 ice. Besides that, the rest of these are going to be just straight trash when it comes to their elemental counterparts that we can make in Ardian. Ardian weapons are like a make-your-own weapon. They're kind of like Safi, but just to talk about that, I don't have one to make an exact, but you know, if I put together a fire, that's coming in at 260 fire, and that's without the third. And once I put in a third fire, that's going to go up to 290. And then going from there, I'm going to be able to get it even higher with upgrading it. And you know what? Let's just show you a 1-to-1 with what a fully upgraded looks like. So here's a fully upgraded Ice Insect Glaive, and we'll compare it directly to Jin Dahad to give you a proper 1-to-1 comparison on it. So you can see Jin Dahad compared to me, it's going to be 210 versus my 200. I have 15 affinity. Jin has 350 element. We have comparable sharpness to each other, but once again, Power Prolonger on Jin Dahad, and I have 3 level 1 decoration slots. And the other thing is, when it comes to Ardian weapons in particular, we're going to be able to, you know, keep rolling these. This happens to have affinity, sharpness, elemental boost, whereas ideally, if I had one more element on here and then I had like sharpness and attack, this would be much closer to Jin Dahad. It would be 5 raw less with even more element. So while Jin Dahad and Cuckoo can be competitive, and they are going to be easier to just craft by all means, like to get you going, but in the long run, a perfect elemental Ardian Glaive is going to be able to outclass it. Now, moving on from there, let's talk about some armor sets. Now, I'm not even going to talk about low ranked because, to be honest, low rank is an absolute joke. You're just going to plow through it. But going into the armor sets and pieces that I really like for IG, the first probably comes in the form of Ray Dow. Ray Dow coming in with Latent Power and Thunderous Roar in particular. Latent Power is pretty solid, and to be honest, I think it's one of the better ways for us to get affinity now. So an extra 50% affinity if you have the 4-piece set bonus, that's going to last 3.5 minutes, which is pretty wild while you're up in the air, coupled with that stamina depletion. If you're staying on the ground, you could combine that with Max Might and get yourself up to a big old chonky base of 80% crit, which you add in weapons and whatnot, and you can figure out the rest. Besides Ray Dow, though, one set that I was really drawn to was Gore Magala Alpha, in particular these 3 pieces. So Gore Magala set bonus is pretty fun. It's going to affect us with Frenzy, and then when we overcome that, as long as we have antivirus, we're getting a nice little attack boost, as well as a nice affinity boost. But the 3-piece of this gives us Master Mounter, which is very, very attractive for Insect Glaive. If you want to get 6 mounts per hunt, Master Mounter's got you covered. So those are pieces that I run on all of my IG sets now, just 3-piece of Gore Alpha. Besides that, you want something really comfy. Honestly, Arkveld Beta will just get the job done. You could do 4-piece Arc Beta, slap in some new Udra Greaves, and you're going to have tons and tons and tons of healing coming in. You're going to get less mounts, but you know, you get what you pay for. Now, with that being said, let's take a look at my 2 particular IG sets. The first is my Comfy Glaive set. and taking a look at this, we have the Gore helm, the mail, and the van braces that I just talked about, and then we're running the arc-felt coil and the arc-felt greaves. In terms of decorations, I have, well, actually, I have the chain charm as well, getting 2 bursts there. I also have a chain jewel over here. I have earplugs in the bottom because 1 point of earplugs along with our insect extracts is going to get us max earplugs where we can get through any roar. Some sane jewels to max out the bonus of antivirus, and then we obviously have max might up at maximum too. And all in all, this is pretty comfy. What we're really doing here is we took a little bit out of burst in exchange for flare, just allowing us to get wounds a little bit easier. We obviously worked earplugs into the build, and then we put a shockproof in for multiplayer. And this is going to give us the 2-piece of Gore Magala along with the 2-piece for Decimator, and this is just a very comfortable set. It's not maximized in terms of its damage potential because, you know, we're obviously picking up some quality of life stuff, but it's very comfy to hunt with. You have a lot of healing coming in. Your damage is still plenty respectable, and we get the full earplug experience, which is something that I really like because the last thing I want to do while I'm flying around is get knocked out of the air by a roar. If you are running elemental IG instead, you might want to go more for the damage glaive set. Now, something like this, I'd likely run with a elemental IG, something, you know, I'd put on my ice IG, and then in terms of that, let's see, what could we do? We could do, let's go, here you go. Look at that, I got power prolonger. Oh, wow, I could do that. I could steal the razor sharp handicraft that I have on the other one because it's just a beautiful, beautiful jewel. Ideally, if I had multiple frosts. Actually, hang on. I might be able to do this. Let's go frost razor. Oh, no, we already have frost razor sharp. I'm dumb. We'll go razor sharp handicraft. And then if I wanted to get even more, I could either do crit boost. I could do crit element. Let's go crit element. Why not? Critting a lot with this build. I have a crit element. No, I picked a crit. Crit element. Crit element frost. I already have frost maxed. Crit element stream. What do we need here? Let's just go straight up critical jewel 3. But ideally I could have like razor sharp frost, something else frost, crit element frost, and then I'm just completely cracked out. But either way, looking more at the gear, this is running 3-piece Gore. We're also going for the Gore Beta Greaves as opposed to the Alpha, and then we're going to be working in the Guardian Ebony Odogaron Coil to pick up a point of burst and then a level 2 deco slot. Alternatively, you could switch things up and you could make something pretty similar going for the Guardian Ebony Odogaron Helm. You could either go for the Alpha, getting your earplugs there alongside burst, or you could go over here and pick up burst and the level 2 deco, which I think earplugs might be a level 2 deco. Let me see. Let's check. Yeah, so you could do that, slot earplugs in. It doesn't matter what you go for. And then going for, well, this wouldn't work because I'm missing out on my stuff. But going for this, I could pick up the 2-piece for burst boost, going for the 2 Ebony Odogaron. I do like my master mounter, so I probably slop the Gore coil back in. That's the Gore beta, never mind. I need to get the other Gore piece. But I mean, there's a couple of different things you could do. Let me go back to the actual set that I built before I start going all over the place and start making builds. But anyway, point is, so going for this, we're going to be picking up Black Eclipse 2, which is giving us a solid attack power boost. We still have Master Mounter. We're going to be picking up Burst all the way to max, which is going to propel our element up very high along with our attack. We still have Max Might. We managed to pick up Divine Blessing, Antivirus. And there's a couple things we're missing out on. Obviously, we don't have our earplugs anymore. We don't have our Flare and our Flare Heal. But this is more something that's designed for just raw damage. And, you know, as I mentioned, there's a couple things you could play around with here. You could instead go for, like, the other Helm. You could go, you know, slotting in. If you were to slot in this, you'd lose a couple things, but you'd pick up your earplugs, and then you could probably mix around some decos and stuff. It's pretty flexible in terms of what you can do. But the big thing is I'm just a complete addict when it comes to Master Mounter. Either way, I believe that covers everything that I wanted to talk about. Honestly, for early in high rank, you're probably like, this doesn't help me, bro. I'm just at the start. Dude, I played through most of high rank with low rank gear until I got up to Ebony Odogaron. And once you get to Ebony Odogaron, you know, 4 pieces of that with burst boost, that's going to be more than enough to carry you through to the end of high rank. So this is very, very easy to get into endgame, and then that's where the farm's going to begin, which is why I'm not spending a lot of time covering this stuff. And to be frank, I probably won't in the further guides. I'll just mention that, you know, Game easy, get your gear. But either way, let's go ahead and get a hunt going, and we'll show off what our comfy glaive set is capable of.
Are you prepared?
All right, and actually didn't have to go anywhere because we have a tempered ray Dow up, so that is perfect for us to target to take down. I like taking down something that goes in the air with IG. I mean, we can fight on the ground, but I mean, if I'm playing IG, it's to knock something out of the air. Which traditionally I would have done a Rathalos. I like fighting Rathalos with IG, but, you know, I wanted to mix things up. Flash pod. Oh, I never got my stuff. It looks like it's going to be a kill, not a capture. Oh, well. I think I can still hit sub 10. Hey, buddy. Boom. See, that's why I am a huge love for the fast charge along with the harvest extract. I'm glad it's a day hunt. It looks so good during the day. Woo. Try it again. No. I always go too late. This is why I love having flare. Where you going, buddy? Oh, took that to the face. Oh, oh no. Oh no. Oh man. Yeah, guys, this is the best way to play IG. Look at my flawless gameplay cards.
More supplies have been added.
Embarrassing. I mean, sometimes that's just, you know, you get popped. Sometimes you get popped. It's okay. See, but this is why it's so important to get those extracts back. I did not get my extract. I did not make it back in time, and I got punished for it. It's okay. I think this is still going to be a sub 10 hunt, to be honest. Bro is getting just absolutely worked right now.
You're not taking me down.
Yeah, his orange is always a pain in the ass to get. Stop it. Stop being so spazzy, bro. I really got to stop letting that happen to me. Should be recovering more, but I'm trying to get used to not recovering at all with my
Got it on the ground. Sweet. Almost there. Time to go on the offensive. Looks like it's moving to a new area.
you ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere, son. You want to cart me? I'm gonna teach you pain. I'm the king of these skies. Damn.
That's my partner.
Bro got cocky after he carded me and then he got dog walked. Look what happened.
This thing's a trove of new data.
Let's see, what did we come in at in terms of a hunt time? Bro didn't even get to run. Ooh, a 649, and that was with a cart? Oh, baby. Pretty good. But either way, that is going to wrap up our IG guide. Very, very fun weapon to play. I know a lot of people are still getting used to the charge, but like I said, you get it down, and ooh, it is satisfaction. So thanks for coming on by and checking it out. Up next, we're going to be using my second weapon from my playthrough, the gun lance. So y'all stay tuned for that, and I will catch y'all soon with more.